All right, let's go. Welcome back, everybody. We are live again with Paranormal Mysteries. We've got Hefty, Marty, and Nick, our co-hosts, and of course, our very special guest tonight, Mike Ricksecker, who this is part 2 of Shadow Figures. And hi, Rob. Your first one in.
Of course.
Good man. So for tonight, we obviously, if people watched the part 1 of Shadow Figures, we went into the realms of like sleep paralysis with shadow figures and
my personal experience with it as well.
Your personal experiences with it. And I thought tonight we will talk more the side of like what other shadow figures can be related to. So like time slips and depends on your vibrational pattern, I believe, like how your energy vibrates depends on whether you can see these shadow figures at that particular time. And also we're going to go into a bit of the history of shadow figures in ancient Egypt times, and also, if we've got time, a bit of black-eyed children, or black-eyed spirits as they're called.
This sounds bad, I'm sorry. The black-eyed children, it's like, it just doesn't sound good. It's like
it's usually not good.
No.
Yeah, you see anybody, doesn't have to be a child, you see any person with black eyes, like,
yeah,
it's not gonna be good. Right. But yeah, so Mike, like, how you been? Like, what you've been up to? Have you in the paranormal field, or?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well. Just been extremely focused on getting the Shadow Dimension docuseries out there. So since the last time we spoke, that's pretty much what I've been doing with 75% or more of my time, besides work. But
so was that was going on Amazon, wasn't it? And didn't I read something about it changing?
Yeah, it was supposed to go on Amazon. Amazon changed their policy. So basically nobody, no matter what your topic is, as far as like a independent documentary filmmaker, they are not taking anything right now. So, and even, talking with distribution companies and trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this out there? What platforms and all that. Just talking with some of these different distribution companies, they are like, yeah, we can't even get anything out on Amazon right now. So it will be coming out here in the next month or two. I can't say exactly where yet.
Yeah,
I'm hoping sometime in May. Because I promised a spring release, so this will be a little bit later in the spring than what I was hoping for. But
have you tried Shudder
out there
by any chance?
No, I haven't gone directly through Shudder. So with somebody like Shudder, from my understanding from talking with people in the industry, you would need to go through either a distributor or some sort of aggregator. And so I've been trying to work with those people to get me out on places like Shudder, because a lot of the a lot of the platforms like that, they won't take a direct non-solicited piece of work that they'll take it from a distributor or an aggregator. So you have to work with a middleman, which is kind of annoying, but I kind of understand it because they're basically like pre-vetting, what they're receiving.
Is this going to be a permanent thing then that Amazon are doing, or is this just a temporary issue?
It seems sort of temporary. So they're changing the way their platform is going to work. They also, launched IMDb TV.
Yeah.
So we're putting a lot of content out there. A lot of guys that I've talked to in the industry are saying that it was kind of like a 5-year experiment that Amazon conducted, and they were getting a lot of just garbage out there, basically glorified YouTube videos. Like a lot of people were treating it like a premium YouTube, because they were getting like a lot of vlogs and things like that out there, and that's just not what the Amazon platform is supposed to be for. So they're trying to clean up.
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's put a bit of a spanner in our works, because we were literally just about to start filming for starting a show with this the paranormal group Haunted Nights that we do. We're gonna, with the idea, they started to come forward, but obviously since then that's obviously been put on the back burner a bit, I think. But hopefully, like I say, hopefully you're going to get out end of May, like obviously, like you say, sometime like that. But it'd be good. I'll certainly be looking out for it. Like that's well up my street,
100%.
definitely. That's gonna be awesome. So first of all, so thank you guys, everyone, for joining us. Please share this out there. The more people that come into this, the more we can do, the more we talk about, and the guests obviously appreciate talking to you guys as well.
Marty, I think you've got a shadow figure behind you.
I've got like 12 right now. They keep talking behind me right now, so I just ignore the shadow figures in this house.
There's like photo bombing here. So
Yeah.
So I thought I'd talk a bit about, first of all, like Amy said, about my my recent experiences I'm having with shadow figures. I don't know if you've heard of this before, Mike. You probably have, but basically, since I did a live a few weeks ago with my good friend Sean, who's Ghost Cowboy on Instagram, and we're just talking live, and I saw a shadow figure, I suppose, flash across the ceiling, which is the first one I've seen in this house. Since then, almost nightly or every other night.
Nick's got his arm stuck on the table
Yeah,
again.
Nick's stuck.
I dropped the remote. That's what happened.
Since then, I keep on having these dreams of seeing shadow figures, and they're not like your normal dreams, your normal nightmares. These are like really real, and I can feel it. I can like smell it, everything in my dreams.
You didn't tell me you could smell it.
Yeah, I can. All my senses, basically, I can. All my senses are being used in these dreams, and these shadow figures are very, like, almost intelligent to the point of they know that I can't do anything about it, sort of thing, and they're not harming me, but they're almost like threatening me to a degree. Yeah.
Maybe making their presence known, making you aware that they're there.
Yeah, like make it like it's.
Well, that's when you're asleep you're vulnerable.
Yeah,
And that's why they can come into that way.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, have you heard of this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as far as shadows interacting with you in your dreams, they're not directly entering your dreams. If it was in a dream state, then it would be like lucid dreaming or something like that. Usually, when something like this happens, when people are actually getting, like real visitations from a shadow entity, it's not so much that as it is you are in a way, astral projecting. You're projecting from your body, and you're experiencing these things around you. And when you're in that other plane of existence, that's when you have more access to these entities, and they're all around us. We don't usually see these things directly with our own eyes. We do on occasion when the moment is ripe for it. But when you are in that state, when you've basically gone to another dimension, for lack of a better term, actually it is an appropriate term, we're able to see these things a little bit more readily. So I think that's what's happening with you. You're actually projecting a little bit out of your body at night.
Yeah, that's not abnormal.
Could this potentially be like a problem? Like I could maybe get an attachment from this, or
I think you're opening your.
I mean, am I looking at this too deep, or?
Yeah, it depends on the motivations of the shadows. I know we talked a bit about this the last time I was on the show. There's this misnomer out there that all shadow entities are evil and they're up to mean, nasty, and nefarious means, and that's just not the case. Yes, there are some that are nasty, but most of them are just watching and observing, and of course, humans not fully understanding what these things are. We tend to fear what we don't understand. Of course, it's shadowy in nature, so we automatically think that, oh my gosh, it's a shadow. It must be nasty or something. But it's just the form that they're taking. A lot of shadow entities are just human spirits that can't fully manifest into an apparition or what have you. Some are interdimensional beings. Some could be ET. Some are time travelers. There's a lot of different things that these things could be. So it's kind of tough for the human psyche to kind of get around the idea that these things are, not all nasty. So it really depends on the motivation of the particular shadow.
Okay.
I mean, it's like for me, like I only experienced like sleep paralysis or shadow people like once before then getting these dolls that we've now got. and I've experienced it probably about 4 or 5 times now.
Since it knows, yeah.
But the same thing, it keeps doing exactly the same thing to me while I'm asleep. It hurts my head. It makes me hear like ringing bells, and then I end up blacking out. And it's doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, could they be doing that because they know that that's what's can affect me, and it's working, and that's why they keep doing it?
Well, it might not even necessarily be that they're purposely doing that. I mean, a lot of what you described are, symptoms when we're feeling, large fields of magnetic energy. So, they could be approaching you just to watch and observe, and you're going to feel their energy. And we each have, our own toroidal field of energy that projects out from us. So do they. And so, I know we talked a bit about it before when we talked sleep paralysis. When we're waking up in the middle of the night and we're seeing these things there, it's what woke us up was feeling their presence. We felt their energy in the room. The example I always use is, waking up to my son Cameron in the middle of the night. He wouldn't tap me on the shoulder or shake me awake. He would just stand there next to the bed, and I would suddenly jerk awake. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, you knew he was
Cameron?
there. Yep.
Yeah, I knew he was there, and I just felt his presence, and so that's
Right.
what's happening. At night, is people are feeling their presence. Sleep paralysis is a real biological phenomenon. So sometimes you wake up and you're experiencing that sleep paralysis, and then you see the shadow, which its presence woke you up, and then there's kind of like this back and forth of, oh my gosh, there's an intruder in the house, and you of course feel fright and all that. So that said, you're probably very sensitive to this entity's energy. It may not try to be it doing anything malicious to you. It may just be there observing you. Again, we don't know why they're observing and watching. They could just be studying us or what have you. So you just may be ultra sensitive to it and are feeling that energy, and this is the way your body's reacting to that type of energy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, for me, it comes across to me almost threatening, but like you say, it might not necessarily
it could be
be
just
that.
where your body's reacting to that energy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it makes sense.
Yeah. See, with mine, like, it's not necessarily. I've had sleep paralysis. I've had it twice. These are more like. It's hard to explain. Like they are, like you say, it's in my dream. But I don't know. It's just so hard to explain. But
It seems like reality.
yeah, and
Like
it
a
is so.
nightmare.
I have night. Sorry, Nick?
Like a nightmare scenario. That's the best way
Yeah.
I can describe it, because it feels so intense and frightening.
Yeah, I mean, I've had nightmares like everyone else, but these, like, usually, because we were talking about this a few shows ago with Kerry about controlling my dreams, and I've always been able to control my dreams. I don't know why I can, like, not control what happens, but I can control what happens, but I can change them throughout the dream. But when it's with these shadow figures recently, and I can't control it, and it's almost like they know I can't control it, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just losing my mind, but
I hope not.
but it is weird.
Yeah.
It is weird. It's interesting what you say about that energy field. You said, Marty, that you sense it as well. You sense like your kids come into the room, like.
Yeah. There's been obviously multiple times my kids will come in the room. My daughter will be staring at me, and I just immediately like freak out. I wake up, she's standing right there, and she's just staring at me. And she's my daughter. I mean, I've raised her from birth, obviously, and when she's staring at me, it scares the crap out of me.
He never senses when I'm standing there watching him though.
Well, that's just because I ignore you all the time.
That's very true. That's true.
Well, yeah, no, it's even when your kid's standing there coming out of sleep, you're disoriented.
Yeah.
You're already disoriented as soon as you wake up. You know what I mean? So it really
There's
kind of
one
just
right back there.
Yeah.
yeah, there he is. All right, enough photo bombing. Go. That's 1 of 10. I don't actually have 10. I have 4, but there's 10 here. I swear to God.
There actually might be
wow.
some black-eyed children at the end of this video.
I hope not.
No, I was just going to say, for me, it's like I don't even have to almost wake up now. I can sense it's coming. So before I used to wake up and be startled, and then obviously it would affect me. But now it's come to the point now I can sense it without even needing to.
Maybe that
open
is
my eyes now.
like Mike saying, we get more sensitive to it. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we have.
Yeah, you're getting more familiar with its energy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've opened ourselves that much now. We've also got these dolls in our house. I mean, it's
Well,
no
this is
wonder.
what Kerry said, didn't she? She said it's going to start building.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hi Carrie.
Yeah, and just Yeah, and you start getting in tune.
Yeah,
with
she's
your
yeah,
body's
she's
energy starts getting in tune with the energy of these beings. The more you come into contact with them.
Oh, okay. I'll just quickly answer Anne's message here. She put on. She watched a lot of paranormal teams from the UK. Is the paranormal more accepted in the UK than the US?
I actually don't think it is.
I would say no. I would say in the UK it's very.
It's not necessarily taboo, but it's.
But you're a bit of a weirdo if you like the paranormal in the UK.
Really? I would have
think
figured with such a very like just rich history that would be almost kind of like
But
the norm.
that's what I've always heard too. Yeah.
Yeah, I always feel. I mean,
Yeah,
you've got all the beautiful castles and like all this other stuff over there. It's like
that are like centuries older than what we
Yeah,
have here in the
yeah.
U.S. And not to mention, I mean, as I probably said before, on certain paranormal circumstances, I thought it would have been the opposite around, where it would be more accepted in the UK than it is here in the U.S.
maybe we're just too quiet people.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
You guys are a lot more open, a lot more.
I think there's a lot of generation in the UK that's stuck in their ways, sort of thing. Especially a lot of the older generation. Like, no offense, I'm sure a lot of them aren't, but there's a lot of them that are very much like you don't talk about it, or
Yeah.
you're a bit strange if you don't. I mean, like there's even been on these ghost walks that we're doing at the moment now. There's been quite a lot of occurrences where people have come out of their houses and like attacked groups of paranormal investigators. And
really.
yeah,
That's disappointing. I mean,
Yeah,
I can understand for like a certain a level of the respecting the privacy, but I mean, just straight attacking people, I'd be like, that seems
there
a bit
was
much.
one, like obviously you see, we went to Pendle Hill the other week, and that location was different to the original one because on the original one, this lady, she come out and actually attacked the group, and the police were actually having to be called to actually arrest her.
Wow.
It got that severe.
Wow.
So it does happen. I think. Yeah, the UK, I don't know. It's a big thing. I mean, the paranormal side of stuff in the UK is huge business. It's $1 million business in the UK, but it's very like underground sort of thing. Like it's not. It's not publicized anyway.
I feel like we're very
Niche.
you guys are a lot more open
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, I don't know. Is it different in America? Would you say, or?
I mean, from my perspective, anybody I've talked to and anything I've seen, it's a pretty widely discussed subject. You know, even across the news, you'll see a few news things here and there that come up, and
You don't even get that on news.
No.
yeah, like
At all.
there's something I was watching earlier. It was a newscast. I think it was from the U.S. and it was on black-eyed children, and they had two people from just a paranormal investigation group that got on to talk about just a brief history of the black-eyed children. And that was casted on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's become a topic that's people are more and more open to. I mean, you had a large period of time in which it was taboo over here. During the spiritual, it was, you could find stories in the newspaper all the time, but then it was kind of like since World War II and on into like maybe the 90s. You didn't hear about it so much. I mean, you had Hans Holzer, you had the Warrens, and that was about it. And they were kind of considered nut jobs, even though they were pioneers in the field. But once the television shows started hitting, you had the proliferation on the web in the mid-90s, and then Scariest Places on Earth came out the into the 90s, and then Ghost Hunters. And once those shows started coming out, people started talking about it more and more. And so, yeah, it's opened up here a lot more in the U.S. for sure.
I feel like it opened up more when we actually had like Most Haunted, when they created their
Yeah, you guys had Most Haunted.
became a lot more.
Even like those, if you look at like some of the original ones of Most Haunted, they're very much extremely skeptical, and there's no real like talk. It's more just about they talk about the history, and then they'll just sit in a room and wait for something to happen. That was very much how it was then, but like it's obviously snowballs now. It's good. It is getting better.
Obviously, they've got to create a show.
Yeah,
well, I think a lot too is the age of the internet. You got YouTube channels, you've got all these places you can post stuff, Netflix and all these platforms that everybody can actually come together on, like exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
and it's just widely more publicized than it ever used to.
Well, when I started getting into the field, 16 years ago, I mean, obviously, Most Haunted was pretty much the one that kind of dominated the travel channel at that time. So, I mean, there was a number of other shows that were broadcast side by side with it, but it was really most haunted. It was. And yes, before that, you also had Scariest Places on Earth. So during my early days of studying the paranormal, there wasn't as many, as I recall, there wasn't as many YouTube channels as there are now regarding the paranormal in any way, shape, or form. So your real only means of trying to learn about anything, paranormal wise or investigation, was through those television shows, because the information that was online was relatively limited compared to now.
I think there was one I used to watch, actually. It's called I think it's called Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, there's loads of them like that.
Yeah,
I remember Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, that's an American one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a really good one as well. I enjoyed that one.
It's become, like I say, with the internet.
Nick,
He's got it.
do you just have a drawer?
I was
of
going to say, you had
stuff
that
next
readily
to you?
available.
Right there in front of him.
There you go, see? I mentioned the name. Nick brings out.
He's always got something he can bring up.
Behind you.
Yeah, he's always got a background on him.
What's that? Oh yeah, my background.
Background.
But yes, so a person's personal vibration, if that makes sense, that's becoming quite a popular thing that's being talked about now. Mike, could you enlighten us more on what it is, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that I've been talking about a lot lately, because people keep asking me, when it comes to, seeing shadows or apparitions, does that mean, you're a lower vibrational person, or if you see more apparitions, a higher vibrational person? It's not necessarily. Basically what it is, we each have our own, personal vibration, our own personal resonance. And so that helps us to, see some of these different things, because they are vibrating at their own
So it's like
level.
string theory almost?
Yeah, you can get into string theory, M theory, and all that with this. And so, the body vibrates at a certain frequency, but everybody vibrates a little bit differently. I'm going to tell a story here that Nick was there for. So we're at the Mineral Springs Hotel almost 2 years ago now, doing a paranormal investigation. He knows what I'm talking about. And
Tom in the chat, so he's listening.
Yep. Tom's in the chat. All right. So Tom, Nick, a couple of others, and we were in what's known as Pearl's room up there in the abandoned part of the hotel. We're just doing some EVP work, stuff like that. Started hearing some noises from down the hall. And so I head out there, and from down the hall, I see this smoke, this black smoke start to billow up. And it does something really strange. It starts to creep up the right side of the wall, creep back down, creep back up, creep back down, as it's coming closer and closer. And it ends up morphing into the apparition of a little girl. And by then, everybody else has kind of joined me out there, and we're trying to coax her closer and everything. And what's interesting is we each saw her a little differently. So I saw her, basically fully formed from her head down to about her knees. And then she kind of slowly dissipated away at the bottom. Nick saw her differently, kind of more the feet first and then on up. So, but that all adheres to our own, personal resonance, where, we each saw her a little differently, because, okay, she's vibrating at her level, I'm vibrating at my own, Nick's vibrating on his own, and all the others. And so those that are seeing more shadows than apparitions, or more apparitions than shadows, is because your personal vibration is more on the level with a certain type of entity. So it gets interesting when you're out on a paranormal investigation and one person sees something and the other doesn't. Is it because the one person's just imagining things, or is it because they saw it but the other person isn't resonating at that same level? And so
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. And as we become more attuned to these things, like I see more shadows and apparitions, because I've become used to that. One of my very first significant paranormal experience was with a shadow person. Then I had another one when I was 13. And then, as I started investigating, I was seeing more and more of these things. So my vibration has gotten attuned to seeing these shadows. So it's a lot easier for me to see them than, say, somebody else.
And forgive me for my ignorance, Mike. I'm kind of like new to everything. So a lot of these shows, while I've always kept an open mind my whole life, I learn a lot from these shows. And I do apologize. I'm not as familiar as I feel I should be with your work. How long have you been involved in the paranormal investigation, or just the whole side of things?
Yeah, I've been involved some way, shape, or form for about 30 years. My first paranormal investigation, although I had no idea that's what it was at the time,
Right.
was when I was about 15, 16 years old, something like that.
Cool. Okay. Right on, man.
Yeah, you're a real raft of knowledge, and you're like.
I'll have to stalk you.
So yeah, aren't you you're visiting Egypt soon, aren't you? This is coming to our next topic.
I am in June, yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
so
Lucky
I wanted to ask you,
man.
because I remember you mentioned it on one of your shows, and I think, wait, Mike's going to Egypt? I didn't hear anything about this.
I'd love to go to
yeah.
Egypt.
I'm glad you asked.
June is going to be a very busy month. So I'm going to be at the speaking at the UFO Mega Conference in Laughlin, Nevada. That conference is from the 6th to the 12th. Coming home for a couple days, then hopping on an airplane to head out to Egypt for a couple of weeks. So
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be a great trip. I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was going to say you're going to see the pyramids.
We're going to be there at the pyramids for the summer solstice.
See, now this is where I wish I could be his shadow person, so I can go too, because I want to go to Egypt.
You're short, Marty. You can fit in his carry-on luggage, probably.
I believe you can actually get special permission to actually go inside the pyramids if you wanted to at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, that's and that's what we've done. So we have at a number of these locations, we've got special permission. So we're going to be in the pyramid, at night for all of that. And so
That's
Wow.
awesome.
yeah,
Are
it's
you
gonna
going to
be
lie in
amazing.
the crypt as well? There's a crypt in there that I know that you can lie in. Are you going to lie inside it? Apparently,
Whatever I can get access to, I'm going to go do.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
If I have to crawl on my belly to get into some place, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Mike, is that going to be all
If you're
documented?
okay, so my question
Oh, yeah.
for you is, I got a question. Are you even willing to be mummified?
Well, no, because I don't want my
Yeah.
brain scrambled up. Yeah.
So all this is going to be. Is this all going to be on film and stuff? Is it, or are we going to be able to see?
Yeah,
what
I'll be documenting. There's going to be a number of us there. So this is the Return of the Kepler Cycle tour. So going to be with Johnny Enoch, Mohammed Ibrahim, Jay Widener, a bunch of others. I know Jay's going to be doing a lot of filming there. I'm going to be doing filming as well for the Shadow Dimension. So yeah, we're definitely going to be presenting our findings afterward.
I really hope that
Can't wait
goes
to
somewhere,
see
because
that.
I would love to watch that.
Absolutely.
I would. That sounds like something I would just be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'd love to hang out with you, but I got to watch this.
Yeah, I can't wait
That
for
sounds
that.
really cool.
So that brings us nicely on to obviously shadow people in ancient Egyptian times. Now, I just searched on Google shadow people in ancient Egypt, and basically what it says here is that they surmise that a shadow contains something of the person it represents. Through this association, statues of people and deities were sometimes referred to as shadows. Now,
So what it is the Egyptians believed in 7 different parts of the soul. One of those parts of the soul was the kabit, or the shadow. That, along with the ka, which was the animating force of the soul. Those 2 elements stayed here on Earth to roam around, while the other elements of the soul, like the ba and all those, they went off into the afterlife to the constellation of Orion. So there's some different depictions, and I have one of those murals in A Walk in the Shadows where they depict the shadow staying on Earth by the tomb while the Ba birds, carrying the Ba part of the soul, are going off into the heavens. So it's
That's
really interesting
awesome.
what their beliefs were.
I remember back, and it's funny you started talking about, I haven't thought about this stuff in like 30 plus years. When I was back in like grade school, I've always been into horror. That's how I got onto this show. But I remember doing a project on ancient Egyptian beliefs and stuff like that, and and everything you're talking about. I'm like, whoa, I now remember all this stuff. Now it's like, I forgot about that. You're right. That's cool. Thank you for bringing that back. That was
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
really-
It's fascinating. It's yeah, for sure. It's definitely fascinating because there's an idea perpetuating around these days that the idea of shadow people has only been around since the early 2000s. A lot of people point toward this old Art Bell interview where there was a Native American elder that came on and started talking about shadow people, and so everybody. Or not everybody, but a lot of people point at that and say, "Well, that's where the idea of shadow people came from." It's like, no, this stuff has been around for
Thousands of
millennia.
years,
The ancient
yeah.
Egyptians, ancient Sumer, they talked about it.
I feel there's a lot of
the ancient
that.
Americans talked about it as well. And even you see the term shadow people back in the spiritualism movement in the 1800s, and so this stuff has been around forever.
Do you want to see if there's any questions?
Yeah, you can look through. But yeah, I find that fascinating though that like you say that it's only we talk about it now like it's a recent thing, but ancient Egyptians they were around like thousands of years ago, and yet they talked about it then. Like it's mad to think that it almost got forgotten about over time, like through our history and how like through the medieval times and all that coming into our own history, like. It's almost like it wasn't spoke about as much. It's almost like there's a gap in that history.
No, it always existed. It was just they used different terms. You look at cultures across the world, over all time, and you actually see them talking about it. You see the descriptions of the shadows, of shadows sitting, like when it comes to sleep paralysis, shadows sitting on a chest, or the dark press, or what have you. It's like they're all describing the same thing. They just called it something else, or they might have encased it in some sort of legend or folklore. So it was always there. We just kind of came up with this term 150 years ago, quote unquote, shadow people, and now that is what has entered our lexicon, but. The shadows have always been there, and they've always been reported. It just ended up in legend and folklore and other things.
Almost like a buzzword.
Yeah.
Like shadow people, synergy, synergize, and I don't know.
But it's basically all links around that same thing of like the shadows part of the soul, isn't it? It's all comes back to that same point every time almost, isn't it?
Well, in a lot of cases, because a lot of these entities are just human spirits that are manifesting as a shadow. Some could be interdimensional beings. There are some, sure, that are demonic, that are something else. And then there's the idea that some are ETs or time travelers. So there's a lot of different things these shadows could possibly be. But as far as like being a soul, yep, that's definitely one of the things that could be.
That's interesting.
We got a question.
That's my brother too. Sorry, guys.
What's this one? What do you think about the TV Paranormal shows today? What is your favorite? Oh, go on, Nick. You can go first. This one, mate. What's your favorite paranormal show? I know what you're not going to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you and I both know part of the answer to that. But honestly, a lot of shows that I usually like, a lot of the older ones, like what we were just talking about, like Scariest Places on Earth, Most Haunted Hotels. That was another one from the Travel Channel. Actually, one of my more modern favorites, which of course they don't air the show anymore, but Paranormal Witness was another favorite of mine.
With yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I can't remember his name now. Yeah, what about you? Adam, you watch? Sorry?
Say again?
No, I was saying it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, that Paranormal Witness.
Okay. Adam, what's yours?
Tom and Amy P's Mysteries. I was shocked that wasn't Nick's answer. I'm like, shame on you. Shame on you. Well, to be honest, I got rid of cable like a little over a year ago. So I really don't watch much supernatural stuff. I guess like going back, it would have to be honestly probably like Ghost Hunters. And even then, I didn't really watch a whole lot of them. Like I think I watched a lot of John Edwards till I found out he was just a big D-bag and just an absolute con artist, and like then that kind of broke me a little bit. And then yeah, I don't know. I just kind of, I mean, you know, again, I love the horror stuff, but I, you know, as far as paranormal shows go, I never really had a whole heck of a lot of exposure to them until, you know, I met you fine folk. Thank you, Nick.
What about you, Marty? Have you got a favorite show?
It's hard because like there's shows that I enjoy for entertainment, Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and you know all the shows you guys have already mentioned. But to me, it's very hard because there's so much production that goes into that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that you see with people that they do on YouTube that are just raw cut footage.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things I lead towards most. But stuff that's like on the mainstream,
polished, very polished looking.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
It's so hard to try to take any of that. I mean, a lot of it probably is real. I mean, I know, Mike, you said you guys went to what was the mansion you guys went to?
Springs.
Mineral Springs.
Oh, Mineral Springs.
Mineral Springs. I think Ghost Adventures actually had went there. Zach Bagans and all those guys.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. So you know, your footage, what you caught there, could have been similar, but they were like a huge production company, you know, hosted by the Travel Channel that had all this money involved too. So that's where it gets really cloudy for me. But you know, my personal experience is there's no doubt to me that this is, you know, all real. So
Yeah.
I liked Matt's answer in the comments. That made me chuckle.
What did he say?
X-Files.
Oh,
Yeah.
the X-Files.
That was a good
It wasn't
entertainment
really
show,
a
yeah.
documentary series. That was
No, it was just
Like, he's
entertainment.
being
It was
sarcastic that it was a
That was just pure
documentary.
entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarcasm doesn't read well over comments.
What about you, Mike? Do you have a favorite one, Mike? Do you like watch all these shows? Do you or
You know, that's I guess it's tough for me because I've been on a couple. So you know,
I was gonna say I like
the
the
most
answers.
recently.
It's like,
Yeah, most recently Fright Club, but I like when so it's on The Haunted, and I liked how they presented. You know, even though I mean that was like mostly geared toward animals' reactions because it was on Animal Planet, and I like the way that they had done that. But you know, you're talking something 10 years ago. Kind of like Nick, I liked Scariest Places on Earth. You go way back to In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. Those are pretty good.
oh, you forgot about those.
Yeah.
So Holzer Files these days, you know, I like that they're digging back into Hans Holzer's old cases, and you know, Alexandra is a good friend of mine. But yeah, it's kind of tough because I don't watch a whole lot of the paranormal shows. I'm kind of more into kind of the ancient mysteries and stuff like that. Like, you know, Gaia TV, I'll watch Ancient Civilizations, or I'll watch Curse of Oak Island. You know, they get into like the history and all the different things that could be going on the island, and so I like stuff like that.
Don't forget Alaskan Triangle, which you were in.
Yeah, well, that's not necessarily a paranormal show. I mean, I did go up there. We were talking about portals and you know, the way the Earth energy works up there. So yeah, that's another type of show that I like. And we got into paranormal activity in that show as well, like with the ghost ships and you know, the missing airplanes and stuff like that. So yeah, shows like that are kind of more my jam, I guess.
See, with me, like I know Nick's gonna hate me, and a lot of people in the comments will here, but I do really like Ghost Adventures, and I know a lot of people don't, and I understand why. It is very dramatic and very, like you say, Marty, it's very polished.
Look at Nick. He's gonna throw up, I think.
I do. What I try and do with it, though, I try and ignore all the drama, all the the polished side of it. I try and take all that away and just look at the evidence that they capture,
right,
and try and ignore, because I do understand, like,
we've got to create a show.
The guy's got to create a show. He's got to make it entertaining, and unfortunately, I think because of the generation today, they always want to see it better. It's always got to be better and bigger and scarier every time. And I do think that's the problem that these shows fall into, that they've almost got to keep trying to dramatize it more and more and more just to keep the show on air. Because If you don't, your show's off air and that's it. See you later. You're not going to do. I do like it. I mean, I know everyone has Nick hates me now, but
I love Ghost Adventures. I agree with you.
Marty, we are no longer friends, bro.
No, I do. But the thing
Forget
is,
the past 8 years. We're done.
I do the same thing as Tom. I try to cut through the BS. I try to look at, the devices they use. Tom and Amy, you guys use a bunch of devices, so you're using the same things they are. Mm-hmm. They're getting responses similar to the ones you get in your own home.
Yeah.
So you can you can match all that up, and then you cut out the production part of it. You cut out the TV show part.
Yeah.
And then you kind of really pay attention to the evidence.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing I find is I think people are too quick to say that they need to see it to believe it rather than believe it and then not see it. It's come to the point now where I know obviously these shows, they dramatize everything and they are scripted to a certain degree. However,
reality is boring.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, because so much of Paranormal Investigation, you're sitting there and nothing's going on, so you can't fill 42 minutes of a
I'm sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to cut you off on that.
No,
It says reality is boring, and like we say that when we go on these ghost walks and these ghost hunts, we try and say to these guests that come on because they've seen these shows and they're like, oh, like when's the chair gonna go flying and all this, and that won't happen. Like if it does,
that's not how it works. Yeah.
It's the subtle little things. I mean,
and you have to remember when you're watching those shows, and and of course, like we were just saying, the movies, some of the TV shows, they try to make it look like these places are so active. Like one time you hear a voice, and then 5-10 minutes later, all of a sudden you have a shadow figure, you have something run across. That's not really the case. That's in reality. Even if that is real stuff, that's being filmed hours apart.
Yeah, and then you just kind of put it.
Sometimes days apart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, days.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always.
So unfortunately, they think it's going to be quick. It doesn't work like that.
No.
One thing I've always compared it to is that with the paranormal, especially with shows like that. If you ever watch fishing shows. Every 2 minutes, the guy's catching a fish. It takes him 3 days to catch that, fish or whatever. So
I've caught more sunburn than fishes.
Right? Yeah. So it's
wow,
the same
terrible
thing.
grammar.
It's like what we do with ours. Obviously, the videos that we do, people see it, and it's like a 15-20 minute video, and it's all action. But we've got 2 hours of footage that I sit through.
Right.
It gets that boring. I fall asleep at the computer, because I haven't seen nothing going on.
Yeah.
But it's so easy. If I wanted to, I could really dramatize such a little thing. But we really try not to, and we try and keep it as raw as possible, so you just see the facts.
Yeah.
But I can see how easily
leave that to Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, but I could get I don't know, when we get a voice through on the spirit box, it's so easy to make it so dramatic if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is this. Whoa!
Literally.
I mean, sometimes we do that though when the ball goes.
Yeah, we go. That is us. But it's true, and it's still the evidence. The evidence is still there. You can't argue with the evidence. It's just how they present it on the TV that ruins it in a way, which is a shame. But
for me, I grew up with Most Haunted, so I absolutely love Most Haunted. Mm-hmm. Whether it's scripted or not, I still loved it. It was good when it started. I also like Ghost Hunters, which is obviously one we mentioned.
And Most Haunted is good, isn't it?
It is really good, and I think people don't give it enough credit because really, without them, it might not have kickstarted as quick as what it did.
Especially in the UK.
And I also liked, I can't remember, maybe Nick, you can remember, it's called Fact or
Fiction.
Fact or Fiction.
Wasn't that Jonathan Frakes was in that? Was that the one with Jonathan Frakes, or am I just imagining that one?
I'm not really good with names.
He was the guy on Star Trek. Friggin' what's his name? Riker. Was it Riker? Was it Jonathan? Jonathan Frakes was on one of those shows. I thought it was Fact or Fiction. I could be making all of this up.
Jonathan Frakes, James Brolin. Wow, I didn't realize that.
But I loved it just because it was.
See, it looked like there were a few hosts.
I liked that one too. Oh, Jonathan Frakes.
There you go, Matt's good.
Okay. Ask trivia, boy. Coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all good in their own way. I think
beyond belief.
everyone likes their own.
I think people are
Individual
too quick to
thing.
go, oh, it's scripted, which means it
John,
must be fake.
right.
Yeah.
You're entitled to opinion, and you probably are right to a certain degree. But however, don't forget how they first started, because how they first started probably
Like how
was
we did.
actually their most
The
real
best
evidence.
footage, yeah. But like you
So-
say now, like with these companies, they have, it's not just who you see on camera. There's like loads of people there. There's loads of cameras. You see, like when they film their kit, they've got like 30, 40 cameras that are all filming at the same time. There's sound booms everywhere, and they've just literally
Yeah, we have like one millimeter, and they have like
have like 10 of them,
10 of them.
but they'll plaster the place in this equipment just so they can make the show, which is just fair enough. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they do, isn't it? But
It
anyway,
must be nice to have that kind of money. That's all I'm saying.
if I had that money, then I'll probably do exactly the
But
same thing.
they're starting no more than how we're starting.
Exactly. I mean,
So
but I do want to definitely try and keep ours as raw as possible. I mean, like we always say on ours, everything you see is true to how it comes out on the.
yeah,
on
you're not going to see a doll
computer.
flying across the room going.
No, if you do, it's
You hope
Bobo
not, at
because
least.
Tom's sick of this crap and just throws them. But one of the things I also like about Amy, you're in Tom's videos that you guys do is especially during the vigils. Even when you do the Alice box words at the end during the credits, because I'm that guy. I watch the credits because I support small channels.
there's a lot in the
Support
end,
small channels. You even the words you don't see come up on the Alice box, you still include them in there. Which is cool because there'll be ones that I didn't see in the video that you kind of string together and you're like, oh, that was kind of neat, or and then you kind of get that there's a lot more that goes into this than just like you were saying, this is how this goes. But that's a little subtle nuance that I really appreciate about your guys's the work that you guys do is the
I appreciate that, and there's a lot that you guys haven't really seen. I mean, there's been stuff that we've captured that's just either too small to see
rubbish.
or like I've had
or rubbish. Did you say?
I've had slight shadows and stuff, but when I've gone to edit them onto the footage, I can't get it.
It's not even that though. We
look as
debunk
good.
it as well though. We're always like.
We always try and find a logical reason behind it, don't we? But
Yeah.
Well, that's because what most people's knee-jerk reaction would be, as far as I know a lot of pragmatic people that would just shoot all of this stuff down. And Mike, I'm sure you've met your share of yours. Everybody that's in here, I'm sure you've met your, the skeptics and everybody that is just without even a single, a secondary thought. It's just like, it's where's poop? It's like, well, wait a minute, but yeah.
My dad's one of them.
Who your dad?
My dad is one of them. My dad is, and I usually, anytime I see something that looks kind of, incredible. I mean, it's usually actually more of the cryptid stuff, like when any type of new evidence comes along, and I often show him, and a lot of times I usually say, "You're the skeptic, so you try and figure this out." So sometimes there's actually even times where he asks, "What is this?" I'm like, "I don't know. You have to tell me."
Well, I think a lot of that you can't change people's opinion on that, and it's just not for everybody, which is a shame because I think it'd be a lot. I don't know if life would be a lot easier, but it would probably be a lot more interesting if there were a lot more open-minded people that weren't so of such a rigid line of thinking, that so quick to dismiss everything and kind of recognize that hey, there's other stuff at work here. Like you're a fool to think there's not. As far as I'm concerned, and again, what do I know? I'm just a guy.
No, but you're right on
chilies.
It's they eat chilies. You're right on though. I mean, I think it's
That
just
eats chilies.
no matter what your opinion is, it's good to just question stuff and just think
It's about voicing your opinion
more about
and creating a conversation.
like we may. I mean, I was a complete skeptic and stuff, and now I try and prove it to people because I was exactly like some people out there. I had an explanation for everything. I would watch these shows and I'm like, oh, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. But doing it myself, I found out that it's not. These things do exist. It is real, and it's. But then, even at that same point, even if I do get something on camera or whatever, I will always try and find a logical reason for it to make sure that it is paranormal. And if I can't find any reason, then that's when it goes up on YouTube and you guys see it.
Like with the cat ball and stuff, when you guys are near the floor by it to be like,
the millimeters and stuff that you have to touch. There's no reason it can't go off unless you touch it.
Yeah.
So when it's going off, like you can't explain that, and it's crazy. Like, but anyway, we're divulging. So I thought we could talk a bit about like black-eyed children or black-eyed spirits. Now, I don't know what you guys have thought about it. I'll put up a quick picture of what these kind of things will look like. This is a very old photo.
God, that's unnerving.
Yeah, these images are very common.
Just like the one behind me.
And Nick's got a good one behind him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's more the updated version.
Exactly what Nick said.
Well, I'll always get the question: are black-eyed children shadow entities? And no, they're not. I believe that shadow figures and black-eyed children are both interdimensional beings, but they're different kinds because the shadow figures, they can walk in and out of anywhere, and with black-eyed children, their whole thing is wanting to be invited in. You also see like all their features except their eyes are just black, but you see all their facial features. They just look like regular kids, only with the black eyes. You see everything they're wearing,
and different
and
voices.
they're very
They usually have,
monotone.
like, mature voices.
Well, they're very monotone. They'll just be like, you want to let us in, and they'll
It's almost
in
like
the,
robotic.
in the
Play with us,
terms.
Daddy.
Yeah, it's like robotic.
Whatever.
Some of the things that they say are very weird, like their terminology. Like, instead of just asking for food, they'll be like, it's food time. Stuff like that.
That sounds like Marty's kids.
Not anymore, man. They just go in the cupboard.
They just go in the. Now, so are they? All right, so the black-eyed children thing is like a new thing to me, and I was not very familiar with shadow people beforehand. But they're two different entities, and do they appear the same way as shadow people do, or they?
No, because they're fully formed. They look just like a kid. Where a shadow figure is, it's a shadow, and shadows can take all kinds of different forms. You could have a figure. You're not going to see eyes, nose, mouth.
Okay, so I probably worded that wrong. Do they appear under the same circumstances, like in the same events? Like if I was in and out of sleep, or maybe I'm just misinterpreting this, and shadow people can be there anytime.
Yeah, I mean, shadow people can be there anytime. The black-eyed kids, they're not going to appear in your bedroom while you're sleeping.
Thank Christ. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to show up on like your doorstep, or they've been known to go up to people's cars and stuff like that.
Oh,
they're not showing up in your room.
To put this in, and I'm using my kids to do this, and I'm not trying to be funny about this. So basically, Adam, it's like if Morgan and Ethan showed up at your front door, they would stand at the door and ask to be let in that monotone voice that like Mike was talking about, but their eyes would be black.
Or
It would be, that's how you would see it.
I'd be like, sure.
With, like,
Hey,
pale
Marty,
white.
No, that's a
kids,
bad
come
idea.
on,
Don't
man.
let them
They
in.
don't. They give you a sick feeling. They give you almost like a feeling of you don't want to let them in, because I think that's
Right.
almost like your body's kicking in overdrive to.
Oh,
realize
wow.
that they are bad.
All right.
Yeah,
'cause you don't
people
really
that have had these type of interactions with them, it's they're almost kind of like a harbinger of something bad about to happen.
Right.
There was an interesting story. What we just had on our show, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, we just had David Weatherly on the other week, and he's got a couple of books on this, and he's kind of like one of the foremost knowledgeable people on this. And in his book on black-eyed children, he has an interesting story about a woman. She had left her kid in the car to run to the store real quick, came back, and there was a second child in the car, and turn around. Okay, who is this kid? Oh, he wanted to be let in. I let him in. And this kid had the black eyes, so the mother booted out the black-eyed kid, and she was like so rattled over this whole thing. She actually had her husband come and pick her up and all this other stuff. Well, following that, the husband had some really weird, nasty accident where he was just like suddenly overcome with this real foul stench and got into this accident. So that's kind of the stories you hear when people actually maybe they let them in. That was kind of like just for a brief moment. She's not the one that let them in, but it always seems to be some sort of like strange, odd, bizarre thing that happens following an interaction with the black.
So
See,
it's like
that's
the
something I've been
Mothman.
wondering.
Right, because wasn't that kind of the same deal? Like he was kind of like almost pictured as a harbinger of bad things to come.
I'm sorry. Who?
See, the way
The Mothman.
I picture
West
it.
Oh,
Virginia.
Mothman. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the way I picture it and how you described it, Mike, saying how because we've always been wondering what happens when you let black-eyed kids into your car, to your house, and it's never really been quite documented. Hearing that story, I mean, I don't know of any other story like that. I think that's kind of incredible because it's like now it partially gives us that answer, like what happens when you let them in. It seems like you get some type of pretty much almost not maybe not necessarily fatal, but some kind of bad luck for
Really negative
inviting these kids into your car, your house.
And again, I apologize about my ignorance on the subject. I love learning about this stuff. It's super. I ask stupid questions, but that's I'm 42. That's never going to stop. So
No questions ever stupid.
The only reason why I know about the black-eyed children is because I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Just random ones. I think Lois Lane, she talks about the black-eyed children. She's a good one to watch. But
I've got a video on my channel, the Haunted Road Media channel, talking about black-eyed children because a lot of people have questions about them.
what's your? I'm sorry. What's your channel's name, Mike?
Yep.
Haunted Road Media.
Haunted Road Media.
I think I've put it in the description below.
Yeah, so
I'm doing it right now.
all Mike's links to his website, his social media, all there in the description down below for people watching. Definitely go check it out.
And he'd also check out his book.
Yeah. What you mentioned there also with Haunted Nights, the company we're with, we actually do a ghost walk at a place called Cannock Chase in the UK, where black-eyed children have been seen in the forest there. And it's very well documented in the UK that these children are seen. And we actually do a walk there as well. And there's actual pictures that you can just search on Google, just search black-eyed children, Cannock Chase, and there's actually pictures from this place of actually seeing these entities, these figures.
We were looking on YouTube actually to see if we actually could find like a video of anyone captured it. Now you would have thought you would have captured one. You know, like how you got the doorbell cameras.
Yeah, with like the Ring or whatever, or what, I think that's what they're called. Ring.
Yeah, the problem that happens is with the black-eyed children, they have some sort of electromagnetic field around them. So when people have had these experiences, it's coincided with like closed circuit television cameras in the area, just like suddenly blacking out or having some sort of strange interference and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
See, that's weird because we've had that. Haven't we? We've had that. We haven't seen no black-eyed children in our house, but we had that when we do all our filming and stuff. There's one instance a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago actually, we were filming as normal, and one of our cameras all of a sudden just goes black for about 10 minutes. You can hear everything, and then it just comes back on, and it's never done it since, and it never did it before. There's no reason, and that could be the same thing, maybe like you say, this electromagnetic field that give off from these entities can interfere with electronics.
Yeah, it could be something similar. Yeah.
Or the 90 angry dolls you guys own.
Yeah, that might not help.
Or like what Tony has put.
All the black-eyed children offspring from the alien abductions.
Never know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ideas that they could be some sort of alien race or something, but why the invitation into the house? Don't know.
Yeah,
Ronnie Hiddleston just almost made me poop with his little thing there. It almost sounds like a tagline from a movie. You don't chase them, they find you. That is a highly disturbing thought. That is a high, black-eyed
I thought
children.
that was Chuck Norris.
You don't chase them, they find you. It's like, I'll go see that.
So I hit my. I
Yeah.
will.
Mike, I actually have a question I probably have asked you before, but all this talk about black-eyed kids. Again, correct me if I've asked this question before, but have there also ever been encounters with like black-eyed adults? I mean, I'm sure it's mostly kids, but have there ever been any encounters with adults that have the black eyes?
That's a good question. There is an account that I'm aware of from Christina George where she saw black-eyed kids with what seemed like a mother, and she also had the black eyes. So the interesting thing about that is they didn't always have the black eyes. Like when she first saw them, they just looked like a regular little family, but then all of a sudden they had the black eyes.
That's highly unsettling.
Yeah.
Do you think they're similar to the two men that carry the briefcase, have the suit on, and the black hat?
Now you're talking about Men in Black.
In Black.
Similar to them?
I mean, there's a lot of different ideas about what the Men in Black could be. Are they shadowy government agents? Yes, some of them are.
Yeah.
I used to work with some of them.
I wanted to laugh. Like I was like, he's funny, and then you're like, yeah, I used to work with him. I'm like,
I did.
Yeah, no, it's real.
okay.
It's real.
Those are real. Shadowy government agents. Yes, those are real. But there are also ideas. Okay, so a Man in Black, showing up following a UFO incident or around that type of phenomenon. Some of them could again kind of be some sort of interdimensional being, or they could actually be the ETs themselves. And this is something I get asked a lot, because when it comes to like the hat wearing shadow entities. People will ask, are they related somehow to the Men in Black? And in a sense, there is a relation there. So there is a story from Albert K. Bender from the 1950s. He was one of the guys that kind of pioneered some of these early UFO groups. Kind of like during the big UFO flap years. After Roswell, 1952 was a big year for UFO sightings, and he started publishing like this quarterly newsletter. He was, compiling all this information, talking with a lot of people, and he reported that there was an evening where he was working in his study. He was starting to fall asleep, on the couch, I guess, and all of a sudden, these three hat-wearing entities with glowing eyes materialized through his wall and warned him off of all the UFO stuff. They told him, you need to stop right now, and then they like walked up the stairs and disappeared. And so he attributed that to ETs. He thought that they were extraterrestrials from these UFOs that he had been studying and were telling him to stop. A lot of other people hearing that story attributed to the Men in Black sightings, because there were, of course, Men in Black showing up at a lot of these different locations to, find out information or to scare people off or what have you. When I first heard that story, I'm like, that sounds like some of these shadow people stories that I hear, the ones wearing the hats, and some of them do have the glowing eyes. So I think in a sense there are enough similarities that they could possibly be related, or maybe we're almost confusing three different things together because they have similar traits.
See, I would think that if, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, it's really weird how they're all similar to each other. It's almost like they could be one entity that can change and change into different things. It might not necessarily be that, but it is weird how they all got similar traits. But yeah, go on.
No, all I was going to say was I would think that if it were, the people being like, stop, you need to stop now. If the aliens or what have you would make themselves known, I feel that would almost be kind of like an open invite to be like, okay, well, I made you aware of my presence. Like, yeah, dig a little further. Whereas that seems something completely human and like government-esque to be like, hey, you need to stop now. You know what I mean? As opposed to, maybe it's just me. But that's crazy.
Right. Unfortunately, we are coming.
Sorry,
Go for it, Nick.
I just want to point out, of course, obviously another big event that of course, Adam, you briefly mentioned it, that involved a lot of the Men in Black was obviously during the Mothman craze of the 60s. I mean, they were just all over the place and just really making their presence known. Yeah. And not only do they make their presence known, but they often seem to have appeared a few times to some of the original witnesses and people who were involved with the case. Especially probably the most famous one, Mary Hyre, who had an office in Point Pleasant, who was covering a lot of these accounts, would be visited by the Men in Black on multiple occasions saying, you need to erase this from your newspapers right now. And she refused. She kept going until, well, unfortunately, her death in 1970. But it's still, that's another primary. So it seems like 1966, 67, and early 68 was also a huge time when the Men in Black kind of were really a big presence, especially in that area.
Yeah.
You've got shapeshifters as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we are coming towards the end. Just a quick question from Jeff. He just dropped one in at the end. I thought it's quite a good question. He says, could there be any connection between dark energy and paranormal entities, or dark matter? He says.
To a degree, they're all related. Dark energy, dark matter, quantum physics. I mean, it's all everything within our universe is connected. The things that we can see and the things that we can't. I think our ancients knew a lot more about these things, and we're just like rediscovering all of that. Of course, our scientists want to kind of put everything into a scientific viewpoint and find out all the the quantum physics behind it. And I think it's a mix of that and spirituality as well. I think they all go hand in hand. It's not just one or the other. I think all these things are certainly related, and that's why I have the new website I have out there right now is Connected Universe Portal, and so that's where we're exploring a lot of these different topics.
Connected Universe 4. I'll certainly be looking at that. But yeah, so unfortunately we have come to the end. We'll run over a little bit, but we do obviously a little game at the end called Shot in the Dark. It's just 3 random questions. They're just general trivia. No one really knows the answers unless Matt's in the comments, and he always knows the answer.
Yeah, he's lurking somewhere.
Oh, this is
he's Googling them.
Yeah, he's Googling them. I can't even spell Google.
But I definitely, before we do jump into that, again, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you, Mike.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you
absolutely,
too.
man. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
But we will love to again, obviously, have you on again at some point.
Thank you everyone in the comments for sharing all of your different experiences as well.
Yeah, we have been reading.
Yeah.
If we haven't got you on, it's because there's so many questions, so much to talk about. It's such a short space
But
of
no,
time.
it's great to read your stories.
But yeah, we do read every single comment, so thank you so much for commenting. Yes, Nick?
I got it. Sorry, I got to get this question out quickly.
Really itching.
Are there any plans or any upcoming plans for the Haunted World Media Paracon for Alton this year? Anything going on with that? Because I haven't heard.
Not
That's
this
a good
year.
question.
Yeah, not this year.
Not
Usually
this
we
year?
do
Okay.
that in June. And obviously, I'm going to be out of the country in
Yeah, you're
June.
going to be in Egypt.
The other idea
Yeah,
was
you guys-
possibly September, but there's just I don't have enough time to plan anything for this year, and so
No, you enjoy
this year
it.
kind of being weird anyway. Following COVID and everything,
Right.
best to just wait until next year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Agreed.
that would be good. But we can't wait to see that, obviously. And obviously, when you get the show out there, Shadow Dimensions, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah,
to see it.
Shadow Dimensions should be out in May. Yeah.
Happy days. But we will, say, hopefully we'll have you on again at some point. Maybe pick your brains a bit about UFOs or something, or
Sure.
Or celebrate and promote it when it comes out.
Yeah.
and then when it comes out, we'll have you on and promote it definitely. But yeah, so 3 random questions. They're just general trivia.
Yeah, everyone in the comments, guys.
Just
join
have a
in.
guess, unless you know the
Measurements
answer.
and measurements
Edward,
from
are
the
you
UK
ready?
measurements. Don't forget, everybody.
There's
Do
no.
you have your do you have it ready for yourself?
Right. So the first one is quite an easy one. People probably guess. How many humans in total have walked on the moon? In total.
Matt's there.
Oh,
18? I think it's 18.
It's going to be in the teens somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's 18.
I'm gonna go with 19.
19.
I'm going to
I'll
go
say
17.
16.
I'm going to be that guy. Matt says 9.
I'm saying
boy.
16.
16. Mike's going with. Matt's saying 9. Any other guesses before we go through it?
12.
12. 22 says Kerry.
Kerry,
Kerry start.
Yep,
What
it's
about
scary.
you?
Ann says 6.
Yeah, that's scary.
Don
Mike
says
said
7.
Okay.
Ronnie says 4.
Ronnie says 4.
I'll go 15.
I'm going to go with
Amy
11.
says 15. Steve says 8.
Saying 8.
It is. What did you just say?
15.
No. Jeff. Well done, Jeff.
So it's just
12.
you, Tom.
Ah!
okay.
Good on you, Jeff. Yeah,
What?
12
Hey!
total.
He's usurping Matt from his
Wow.
throne already.
Yeah, there's a bit of competition going on there.
Matt, that's strike one. That's strike one for you, Matt.
No, he's done. Matt's old news at this point. Now it's all about Jeff. See, he's got his facts right there too.
Wow, Jeff knows quite a bit. There you go. Apollo 11.
You better start working to reclaim your title.
Right. So the next one is no one's going to know this. Well, you might do, but it's how many bubbles are there in an average glass of champagne?
Listen, by my count, let me just tell you here.
I'm going to
literally is a
say 9,862.
I'll be impressed
Wait,
if you're
what?
not.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second.
Listen,
That's pretty
I'm just
specific.
gonna agree with
Counting.
Mike.
Who's counting the
How do
bubbles?
you count that anyway?
Someone has genuinely counted this.
That's gotta be the most random answer I think I've ever heard.
But they're always like, how could you? I don't know. All right, Scary says 56.
Because bubbles are rising and popping before you can get a chance.
That's
to
what I'm
count
saying.
them.
How could you even? I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna go 4.
2,000.
Champagne is like
Four.
a lot of bubbles. I'm gonna say 1 million.
Million. 2 million. It's got to be a
Oh my
lot of
God.
millions.
350, 56, 2,000.
I was going to say $1 million. You know what? I was going to say $1 million, but you know what? Because Tom and Amy already got, I'm going to say $1 billion.
$1 billion. You're gonna be that
I
guy.
won't be surprised. I really won't be surprised.
It's got a
Mike,
lot.
Mike, out of all of us, Mike, you're the smartest one here, so I'm going with his answer.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't,
right.
no. You can't piggyback on Mike. Get out of here, bro.
I drink fast, lol.
Yeah, Terry says she drinks fast. That's a good point.
She drinks fast.
Before I reveal the answer, just a quick shout out for my mate Rick, Old AF Reviewers. It's a new channel. Guys, check him out. He reviews all sorts of movies and has an absolute
Great guy, great channel.
Yeah, it's an absolute ball. He even does chili challenges, the same as Adam, with some quite dire consequences.
There you go, Adam.
It's like a bubble one as well, I think.
Yeah, he's eating bugs soon as well, so that's
He's
gonna be-
eating books. All right, we'll
Yeah.
talk off camera.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, check out his
Yeah.
channel. Top guy. So yeah, the average amount of bubbles in champagne is about 1 million.
Holy,
Wow.
how could you how would you
And
even?
You guys got it
It's-
right.
Ann
I don't know
says,
how you count that.
In one
I'm with you, Mike. There's just absolutely no way to get that.
Somebody's
one.
counted it, and it's got. But it just say about 1 million.
I
So
got about 1 million's 1 million in my books. I got it.
All right, I'm gonna give it to Amy.
Wow. Holy cow.
Dawn was doubled on it. Ann was half away there.
Well, how big is this
yeah.
glass?
I could have
I
said
know.
That's what I'm saying. Actually, this big.
this is a good,
It's
this is a good
one.
point. Rick
boy.
just said that the insect video has just gone on air. So guys, you want to check that out? It's probably going to be insane. Right.
Don't eat anything during it, I would say.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Robbie,
Okay,
don't drink. I don't trust a man who doesn't drink. Sorry, it's one of those life rules I've always gone by. Never trust a man with no vices.
All right, last question then. True or false? People are 18% more likely to vote for the first name that appears on a ballot paper.
True.
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say true.
Yeah.
True.
Just because I'm lazy AF, so I'd be like, yeah, that guy.
I would say it's true, definitely.
But
Hey,
then,
Trump, what the hell? I didn't
but
mean
then
that.
they put that way, haven't they?
Take it back.
Yeah, but if it was me, I would probably, if I had to vote. I mean, I don't vote, but if I had
Well,
to, I would
everyone's
just
saying true. I'm going to say false, just because why not?
We already said true, and I agreed with you.
No,
All
I'll
right.
say false. You all agree
I
that
agree.
I'm against it.
Okay.
No, but the way I'm thinking of it is they've gone out their way to vote, so they've got some sort of idea already of who they want.
Yeah, but just saying 18% more likely to vote.
well, you never know. I'm going to go false.
You're going to go false just to be awkward.
Yeah.
And you're
I
probably
like it. I like Amy's approach. Or Amy's
sounds right enough to be true. It is. Oh, freaking Jesus.
False.
False?
Yes, it's false. I'm not going to sleep tonight
No
now.
kidding. No kidding.
It says here, on average, the candidate appearing first on the ballot paper receives 2% more of the vote. On
Wow.
average.
Huh.
So only 2% of vote.
Mike's like, oh yeah, okay.
They do Scaredy Cat. So guys also shout out for Scaredy Cat.
But it's still a little more.
Yes, that's very
good.
good.
It's always a little more. Yeah, shout out for Scaredy Cat is in the comments there. Check out his channel, Ghost Cowboy on Instagram. He does some amazing stuff, and I
Yes, he
will be
does.
chatting with him tomorrow night live on Instagram, and we're gonna have a good catch up with everything.
And
that's
check
been going
out
on.
Star Seeds TV as well.
Yeah, with
Woo, Carrie.
she's absolutely lovely lady.
What?
She did a live feed tonight on Instagram. She did free readings for people with tarot readings, and it's amazing what she does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top girl.
Really good.
But yeah, unfortunately, we have run out of time. Anything going on from you guys before we go? Don't all talk at once.
Well, for me,
Let's go, Nick.
I actually just got this offering earlier today. I'm actually going to be returning on the show Matt TV up in from being broadcasted from White Rock, British Columbia, in Canada,
Nice, dude.
Along with actually Mike should be noted. Tom's actually going to be on it with me too, so he's going to be on it as well.
Fantastic.
All
right.
And I've just been working around the clock to just get that my video done. I mean, I've been pushing it back several times. Right now, I'm in that partial editing process, so it's just a matter of time. And honestly, that's it. But Mike, I do have a separate question to ask you, but I'll have to ask you when we go off live, though.
All right, that's fun.
Anything from you, Mike? What you got going on? Obviously, pushing for your.
Well, yeah, obviously the Shadow Dimension, going to Egypt. Just released a second edition of A Walk in the Shadows.
Just a couple small things.
Yeah, just a few things.
No, guys, definitely check out all Mike's links are in the description below. I will certainly be purchasing his book soon. It's been not available at the moment in the UK. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't seem to get hold of it at the moment, but I will. As soon as it pops up, I've got it in my basket ready to go. But guys, yeah, check him out. It's awesome. His knowledge is incredible. Hefty, you got any more videos going up soon?
Nope.
No more challenge.
Nope, I'm done.
He's giving his stomach a break.
Actually, this is my last video. I'm quitting YouTube after this. No, I actually don't have anything planned. I just was talking to my buddy with one of the for one of the challenges. It'll be coming up, but I don't know when. I'll obviously post it. But you can find me here every Friday. What'd you say, Pumpkin?
How much is the chocolate? The chili chocolate?
The chili chocolate?
Yeah.
I don't think you get that in the UK.
Which one? The one that I was just absolutely.
Yeah, the one that you didn't pass.
I'm not going to even.
Oh, that was the nuts. The tube of terror. I made it about a tube and a half into that, and I was like, yeah.
It's $40, wasn't it? For both.
Yeah, it was like $40. Yeah.
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 Well, it's 20 and 20. But.
Marty, anything from you, mate?
Oh man, you know me, just hanging out on the upstate New York UFO and Paranormal Society website. Been paying attention to that a lot more. A lot of people from the Fun Network have been joining that too. So just kind of keep an eye on that.
I like
more.
that you changed the title too, Marty, to include that.
I
thought that was
the title
a
in the
smart
background
move.
and stuff. That just because we're all tied into this now, so just change that, monitoring that.
No, glad I had you guys.
Oh yeah, and follow all these fine people on social
Yeah,
media.
all links below. Follow
everybody.
Briefly from us, we are going on another Ghost Walk Sunday night, Village of the Damned, which was before, but it is actually happening Sunday night. It's a village, basically, quickly, that in 1666 had the plague. Over 250 odd people died. They sacrificed themselves to stop the spread of the plague coming out of the village, and they were successful. So that's where we're going to be going and doing our ghost walk, and hopefully a video will come out in the few days following.
Scaredy cat, real quick. Clifton Park, right outside Albany, about 15, 20 miles north of Albany.
There you go.
Oh, and who's the next person on our show?
You put me on the spot.
Sorry.
I got it. No, I don't. You'll get to it first.
The next person, we've got Linda. Linda, psychic medium Linda. She's UK based.
On Instagram.
She's going to be on here. She's a paranormal investigator as well. We're going to be having a chat with her next Friday, 8 p.m. as usual. Apart from that, say again, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Your day to speak to us. It's an honor. Guys in the comments, thank you so much for being there. And we do read all your comments and all your questions. If you didn't get on, we'll try and get you on next time. Get your questions answered. But yeah, enjoy yourselves, guys. Make the most of your life in the time you got, because it's only short.
Of course.
It is though. You got.
Wow. Amy's like, stop it. Just roll the outro and go.
Get the cue.
I'm gonna go.
God bless him. You're a good dude, Tom.
See you later.
Stay spooky.